30 years of manifesting in the next 10 minutes. Let's go. I'm Jim, and I help people every day find peace, purpose, and prosperity in their life. If that sounds like something you need more of, I want to invite you to subscribe below, give this video a like, and leave me a comment so I get to know you just a little bit better. I was manifesting things before I even understood what manifestation was or how it worked in my life. And I want to tell you all the tricks and the tips and the formulas on here. Some of that is really BS, just to be honest with you. What really works is belief. Belief in yourself, belief in your source, belief that you can have the life you want. The people in this life that get what they want are the people that just simply believe they can. Here's how this works. If you're ever on my channel, you probably know that I was an evangelical pastor for over 30 years. And during that time, I learned some things. I left that world behind and do what I do now. But during my evangelical pastor days, we were at this little church for about 6 years, and I've shared stories, and I won't go into all that on other videos before, but we were stuck there, and we were ready to move on. But in those days, we were young, and we just really believed it was up to God, to move us on, that we had no control over that. We didn't realize we were co-creators with Source, with God, and we can build any life that we want. So we were stuck there, and my wife and I would go on these long walks, and we would pray, and we would ask God, please move us on, please change things, but we didn't do anything to act, to change it, to move in the right direction. And we didn't really have this deep-seated belief of we're made for more. We had this sense, but we didn't have this belief. And then we started reading some books, like this was way back in the day, Rick Warren's book on the purpose-driven life, and then the purpose-driven church. And we felt like we wanted to start a church for people who are not connected to church. And this is many, many, many years before that ever came to fruition. It came into reality. In those days, we would walk around in that low state of vibration of we can't, how can we, how will this ever work out? We went through a bankruptcy, all kinds of crazy things happened. And that is what it is to live, my friend, in a state of non-belief in yourself, non-belief in your source, non-belief in what can happen, just to believe you're at the mercy of the randomness of this universe. The truth is, you are in the center of a great universe, a great source, I believe, God, that wants to help you live your best life, wants to co-create it with you, and you have a desire and a dream in you of what you want your life to look like, because that's who you're destined to be, and you can't have that. Now, that's kind of the yin. Here's the yang, or maybe the yang, and here's the yin of that. During that whole time of walking around doing that, we had no idea that years later we would manifest that very environment, that church that we wanted to do that would connect with people who don't go to church. We even had a huge billboard in town when we started it many years later, all the way across the country here in Wisconsin. And the billboard said, Journey, the church for people who do not like church. Journey was the name of it. And we connected with those folks, and we did all kinds of stuff like Journey songs on Sunday mornings. And I remember doing some Lady Gaga songs, all kinds of stuff. It was a different kind of church, but we manifested that. We didn't even know what we were doing. We just came to a place that we believed we could. We left everything behind in Arkansas, where we were from, all of our friends, all of our support, our home. We sold it, and we came here to Wisconsin. We did it, and it happened. That's the yang. That's the other side of the equation, when we really begin to believe that we can. Well, during that time, I went back into the secular world, as we called it in the church in those days. I went back to work in a real job, a day job, just like maybe you have. And I worked in factories for a long time. For many years, I worked in factories to make ends meet, because the church was not about money and all of that stuff. We wanted just to connect with people, and we weren't there to make an income. So, went back and we did all of that. We did it for a long time. This wind is blowing out here today. Yeah, it's driving me crazy. But we did that for a really long time, for about 12 years. And during that time, I hated my factory job. It was not me. It was the opposite of Jim. It was everything I didn't want to be. It was doing things like the same monotonous thing all day, every day. It was doing things like being stuck in a dank environment with no lights. And I have another video where I go into the job I wanted in the factory, and how I worked for a year to try to get that job, and how that never materialized. It never worked out. I had an opportunity to get it. I went in, I interviewed for a day. It fell apart. And again, I was living in that low vibration state where, this is my life. This is the best we can do financially. This is the best we can do to make ends meet. And everything I wanted in that corporate side of that company, when that fell apart, I let go. By the way, letting go was a huge piece of this. I let go of that and I just accepted not to be okay with it. You know what it means? I had a position where I had an opportunity to take a job in sales and car sales. And I took a chance and I took it. I believed, again, this is something I can do. And I didn't know anything about manifestation at this point. I grabbed that job and I started making money within a year, more than I'd ever made in my life. The reason I share this with you is I want you to understand you can do this now. Don't live in the, I confuse yin and yang. Don't live in the yang when you live in the yin. Don't live in the negative side of the equation of life when you can live in the positive, because I guarantee you, you can create the life you want. And it all is really not about tips and tricks and techniques. I share a lot of that on here. They're helpful, but it really comes down to belief. Do you believe you can, or do you believe you can't? I love that story of Jim Carrey, how he used to go up in the hills in California and he would envision and he would say these statements to himself. Everybody in Hollywood wants to work with me. And he once wrote himself a check for $10 million and for acting services rendered. And it wasn't long at all. He cashed that check when he made The Mask, and I believe Dumb and Dumber came out in the same year. And he made that kind of money because he believed he could. He said it as an intention, and it happened in his life. You can do the same, and I can help you do it. If that sounds like something you're into, again, subscribe below. But today, here is the challenge. Tell me in the comments, what is the block right now for you? What's the belief that you struggle with? You can tell it to me in one word below. This is what's holding me back. This is what's making me believe I can't. What is it for you? I want to challenge you to drop it in the comments today. To not just comment, but to drop it there, to leave it and say, nope, I'm done with that. I'm believing bigger things, and watch what happens in your life.